Hi, welcome to Dreamsical Designs by Danielle. In this video, I show you how to draft your very own shirt dress. This includes the shirt collar stand, front facing, back yoke, sleeve plackets, and sleeve cuffs. Instead of starting the pattern making process from scratch, I give you the skills to design your own shirt dress from transforming a single pattern, your basic blocks, the foundation to all your designs. So we will start with your basic blocks, and I will show you how to transform them into this shirt dress design. If you don't have basic blocks, I've got you covered. Watch my other videos on how to draft those. Once you finish drafting your shirt dress patterns, head on over to my other video where I show you how to sew it all together. Let's get started. These are the tools that you will need for the pattern making process. Regular large sheets of paper. I'm using poster board that is 22 inches by 28 inches. A large rectangular ruler. Mine is 24 inches by 6 inches. A flexible ruler. A tape measure. Mine has both inches and centimeters on it. A hip curve ruler. A French curve ruler. A pencil and eraser. Start with your front basic bodice block, non-stretch edition. If you don't have one, watch my tutorial video linked in the description. I'm using clear acetate paper to show transformations to the basic blocks, but you should work directly on a copy of your basic blocks using a pencil and eraser. We need to extend the center front inwards by 0.625 inches plus a 0.5 inch seam allowance, as this is where the facing will go for the buttonholes on the right side and the buttons on the left side. I chose to end my shirt dress at my hip line, but you're welcome to make it shorter or longer. We will be attaching pleats to the bottom, so to ensure that it can smoothly connect from the front to the back, draw a curve that extends from the side seam at a 90-degree angle to the bottom hem. This is the final shirt front pattern piece. You will need to cut two as a mirror image from your shirt fabric. The front shirt facing length is the same as the length of the shirt front pattern piece by 1.25 inches wide with a 0.5 inch seam allowance all around. This is the final shirt front facing pattern piece. You will need to cut two from your shirt fabric and one from your interfacing. Start with your back basic bodice block, non-stretch edition. Modify the back shirt length to also end at the hip line to match the front shirt length. Draw a curve that extends from the side seam at a 90-degree angle to the bottom hem. The shirt back is split into two pieces, the back yoke that is the upper piece and the body back that is the lower piece. I chose to make my back yoke 3.5 inches in height, measure from the shoulder point along the armhole and from the center back down the center line. Connect the 2 points using a curved or flexible ruler. Then, draw slashes that span across both back pieces, as this will be your notch that you will use to line up the pieces for sewing. Use paper scissors to cut along the bottom back yoke line, and then add in the seam allowance for both the back yoke and back body pieces. This is the final back yoke and back body pattern pieces. You will need to cut two back yoke pieces on the fold, and one back body piece on the fold from your shirt fabric. The shirt collar stand is a mandarin collar. Measure the length of half the back neckline from the high point shoulder to the center back. Draw a horizontal line that is the same dimension. Now measure the length of half the front neckline from the high point shoulder to the center front. Extend the horizontal line that you just drew by this same dimension using a curved ruler, ending roughly 0.5 inches above the first horizontal line. Extend this line by 0.625 inches to account for the shirt facing. The collar stand is 1 inch tall. From the center back of the collar stand, draw a perpendicular line that is 1 inch high. The lines of the top of the collar stand from the center back to the center front mark are parallel with the lines of the bottom of the collar stand. When you get to the collar stand portion beyond the center front mark, draw a curve downwards like this, giving the collar stand its signature mandarin collar look. Add in your seam allowances. This is the final collar stand pattern piece. You will need to cut 2 on the fold from your shirt fabric and 1 on the fold from your interfacing. We will use the shirt collar stand as the starting point to draw the shirt collar. The top of the shirt collar has the same shape as the top of the collar stand, starting at the center back and ending at the center front. From the center back of the collar, draw a perpendicular line downwards that is 2 inches high. From the center front of the collar, draw a perpendicular line downwards that is 2.5 inches high. Use a curved ruler or flexible ruler to connect the 2 ends of the collar. To ensure that your collar has enough fabric to cover the base of your neck, we need to perform a slash and spread. You will cut 2 slash lines up to the upper edge of your collar, but not through it. The first slash line will be at the halfway mark along the back neckline measurement, and the second slash line will be at the halfway mark along the front neckline measurement. Spread the pattern pieces by roughly 1/8 of an inch, then tape everything in place. Add in your seam allowances. This is the final collar pattern piece. You will need to cut 2 on the fold from your shirt fabric and 1 on the fold from your interfacing. Start with your basic sleeve block, non-stretch edition. If you don't have one, watch my tutorial video linked in the description. The shirt sleeve should end at the first bone on your thumb without the buttons done up. With the buttons done up, your shirt sleeve should sit at the base of your wrist. Measure the distance between your wrist line and the first bone on your thumb, then extend the hem of your sleeve by that distance minus 2.5 inches to account for the length of the sleeve cuff. Remember to add back the seam allowance. The sleeve will also have a single pleat at the wrist. I chose to use a 0.5 inch pleat, so extend your new wrist line by 2 times 0.5 inch or 1 inch to account for the pleat fold. Reconnect the wrist line to the sleeve side seams. I chose to place my sleeve placket 2 inches inwards from the back sleeve side seam. Make a mark at this location that will be your notch that you will use to line up the sleeve placket for sewing. This is the final shirt sleeve pattern piece. You will need to cut 2 as a mirror image from your shirt fabric. The sleeve placket will add 1 inch in length to the wrist line, which will make the sleeve cuff roughly the same length as the wrist line on your sleeve. The height of the sleeve cuff will be 2.5 inches. I chose to create diagonal edges for the sleeve cuff, but you can choose to make it curved or at a 90-degree angle. It's up to you as the designer. Add in your seam allowances. This is the final sleeve cuff pattern piece. You will need to cut 4 from your shirt fabric and 2 from your interfacing. This is the sleeve placket without seam allowances. The red line represents the slit of the sleeve placket that is 4.5 inches tall. The upside down triangle at the top of the slit was drawn at 0.5 inches below and 0.25 inches on either side of the slit line. The width of the 3 rectangles is 1 inch. The little house that sits on top of the far left rectangle has a base that is 3/4 of an inch tall with a roof that is 3/8 of an inch tall. The sleeve placket has a mix of 0.5 inch and 0.25 inch seam allowances that have been added here. This is the final sleeve placket pattern with all the measurements provided so that you can easily duplicate this yourself. The red slit will be placed 2 inches from the back sleeve side seam. You will need to cut 2 as a mirror image from your shirt fabric. These are all the final pattern pieces. You should have 9 in total. Shirt front facing, shirt back yoke, shirt back body, shirt collar stand, shirt collar, shirt sleeve, sleeve cuff, and sleeve placket. And that's it. We're done our designing. I highly recommend making a prototype to confirm the fit of your design. Now that you've drafted your shirt dress pattern pieces, head on over to my other video where I show you how to sew it all together. I show you how to sew the shirt from scratch with easy to follow directions. We start with the sleeves, including the sleeve plackets and sleeve cuffs. I'll show you how to sew flat felt seams to give your shirt that professional finish on the inside and outside. Next, we move to sewing the darts, front facings, back yoke, and attaching the front and back pieces together. We move on to the collar stand, and attaching it to the neckline. Then we create and sew the skirt pleats. Lastly, we sew the buttonholes and buttons. I hope you found this video helpful. See you in the next one. Happy drafting!